My name is Mauro Perez. I am new in Denver, just got in last week actually. Thank you, thank you. Let me ask you guys a question. How many of you guys in here right now actively use, develop with Vue on like a daily basis, more or less? Wow, mostly Vue developing here. Everyone else just, I guess, learning, I presume? Okay, all right, cool. And I guess, so my talk is about how it is that I got to become a digital nomad by learning Vue. So let me ask you guys another question. How many people here are interested in having a remote job at some point in their life? Yeah, okay, that's cool. Anyone else working remote right now, by the way? Awesome, I like it. All right, so to tell my story, by the way, I didn't have time to make slides, so I'm reusing some of the slides I did at a talk in Buenos Aires, and some tabs, but just, hope you'll work with me. So just to introduce myself like that. Like I mentioned before, I am a self-titled digital nomad. Since December of last year, I have been on the road. Earlier this year, I spent 3 months in Argentina, just doing the circuit all around, all while working. Now I just got done with, in the Denver stop of a month-long road trip. And this has all been part of being able to learn Vue. And like to dance, yes. Been able to see some really cool stuff by living this lifestyle, especially the penguins, one of my favorite stops. And so I'd like to tell you a little bit about what inspired me to kind of do this trip, to really cut ties with working in an office and take my work on the road. First and foremost, 4-hour work week, Tim Perez. I know there's a lot of hate on some of the stuff he puts out in the book, but there's a lot of good tidbits in there too. And in any case, he was one of my big inspirations for really doing what I need to do to get that remote job. My other big inspiration actually has been Pokemon. Now, I don't know how old you guys are. I'm a little young. I'm 29. But when this show came out, I was 11. Ash was 11. And the whole premise of the show was, hey, Mom, I'm going to head out into the wilderness with a rat that's, zapping me and just, go on an adventure. And that to me seemed freaking awesome at the time. So since then, the whole nomading, vagabonding bug bit. And actually, it's, so when I started learning Vue was actually for a project that was a Colorado-based project. It was this site, Colorado Cannabis Tours, and that was exactly 2 years ago. Actually, in September, it'll be about 2 years since it started. And so this was a client that hit me up. They said they have this, site with a lot of traffic. They give, party tours here, and what they wanted was to add on they wanted to do a hotel-like app, Airbnb style, all that. And they got me on, oh yeah, I'll do that. Let's figure out how to do it. It sounds super cool. And then they tell me, oh yeah, but we're using WordPress and we can't sacrifice our SEO, so you got to do it in there. I'm like, all right. I'm not sure how I feel about building all that in WordPress, but that's when I got digging around, and that's when I found Vue 1.x. It was just before they put out 2.0, and that's when I saw that Vue has a progressive nature that you can plug it in like a jQuery script and then build it up from there. And so with that, I saw, well, it makes sense. You can build up a whole app and you can separate it out later. And that's what I ended up doing with this site in their hotels section. All this down here is Vue loaded into a WordPress site. Just it worked. And so like that was about 2 years ago. And after this project, I went ahead and worked for some other companies. And in particular, at one point when I was between jobs, I was hanging out on the chat for Vuetify. This was back when they were still using Gitter, way before they got into Discord. And I would just, try to help out, answer questions. Wasn't really good at that part. But at some point, By the way, who here knows about this framework, Vuetify? Okay.
It's like material UI, right, for Vue.
Yes, exactly. It's like material UI for you. Excuse me, coming back around. I remember that one day I was hanging out in the chat, and I asked out, hey, is there a quad template for Vue? As you guys know the 2.x template for Vue's CLI? Like you know, you do Vue init, Vuetify, Webpack, all that. All right. So that's what I was talking about those days. There wasn't a progressive web app version for Vuetify. So I went ahead and I asked if that exists. He said, no. I said, hey, I'll work on it. And then he said, hey, everybody, Mauro's in charge of all the templates. He is now the template master, as so dubbed it. That was like 9 templates. And you know, whatever. I was only talking about that one, but it was cool because I got to get really involved in an open source project, which then really helped me out going forward in getting what eventually became my first remote Vue job. One thing I'll say about this, by the way, since we're here, since the release of Vue CLI 3, we have released one plugin, so you don't have to worry about all the different templates, and it's all right there, right around there somewhere. In any case, the main story I want to tell you guys is a story of how I was able to get my remote working job, which is the one I'm still working at right now. So this is Miami, and I remember a friend of mine hit me up and said, hey, someone's looking for work. They didn't even tell me that. He said, a friend of mine wants to see you. And I knew that the friend worked in a company. I went in, not expecting anything. And soon enough, I realized that I'm in an actual job interview. The guy was asking me questions about my programming experience. I didn't really catch on if this was going to happen. He brought in some other developers to grill me on, okay, I was just going along with it, doing my best. And at the end, you know, he's like, all right, you know, everything sounds good, you know, and, you know, when can you start? You know, we're looking to hire you full time. And so he must have seen that I was looking like a deer caught in headlights because I wasn't expecting what was there. And still, it kind of surprised me that, you know, he was offering me the job. In any case, what I told him is that, you know, this sounds really great, but I got to be upfront with you. January next year, I'm heading off to Fiji, and I don't think I'm coming back. And so he said, oh, shit, you know, I want to hire you full time. All right, doesn't matter. We'll hire you contractor, we'll make it work, no problem. And that was pretty awesome. And I would love to tell you that I'm an awesome programmer and that I got that because, you know, how great I am, but it's not true at all. It's not true at all. It's the reason why that worked out so well is because, as I found out later, when he was looking for a Vue developer, there were only 3 Vue developers in town, and I had trained one of them. So the point I'm trying to make here is that learning Vue at so early in the game has been one of the things that has been able to catalyze me into the kind of dream job that I wanted. It is the kind of position that we're in right now. More and more companies are looking for Vue developers, and the demand isn't there, and the supply isn't there yet. And there's a lot of Vue remote jobs. The Vue jobs board has a lot of remote jobs. If you hang out in some of these Discord channels, people are posting on there too. So I think that we're at a very unique, very special point in the Vue story where if anyone who knows Vue has a really big bargaining chip going in the door. And I'm telling you, I just came through Austin, I came through New Orleans, and everywhere I go, people are telling me we're looking for Vue developers. They're asking me if I can work with them. I'm sorry, I'm busy with the company in Miami and traveling. But in any case, that's the story I really wanted to come and share with you guys. You know, you guys, mostly all you use Vue, so you're actually in a great position. It's a good chance to start thinking about that next conversation you're gonna have with your boss, or that other company that might be making a better offer down the road. Anyways, that's my talk. The one other thing I'd love to say is that, again, I'm new in town, and I'd love to do some tutoring with anybody who's learning Vue. I know most of you seem to be pretty advanced here, but if anybody's interested, let me know afterwards. We'll figure out the when and where of it all. Thanks. Any time for questions?
Yeah, you got 5 minutes.
All right. Questions, anything?
Just because the person here. I've been intrigued by remote jobs, but to me, they usually come about kind of like the way it was with you. Like you usually like the people like work there in person. They seem to like they were there in person at one point, and then they move away, or the company moves away, and they're so indispensable that they become remote. But I haven't heard that many people who just are like they're like a remote employee. Like they're just like they apply and they straight up work remote.
Yeah.
And like I've heard of like I don't know what it's called anymore, but it's like like those things like new projects. It's usually a side hustle, but
I've been paying attention to a lot. I've been looking for a job. It seems like over the past year or two, it's getting more and more common. Real jobs are often offered full remote. It's still a minority, but they're way more of them than they used to be.
I don't even really. I personally don't aspire to do a remote job. It's like to me that seems like that's usually when people tell me it's like they worked at a place for a long time, like like they're so like
Yeah.
it's so hard to replace them that they
Yeah, I mean,
stay on.
this is not a common story. In my own company, I'm the only remote worker, and I'm the one also that became a remote worker, negotiating it from the start. Everyone else is working in the company. And it's really, I think, a sign of the times, and how really like privileged we are for knowing what we know, and that with that knowledge we can actually make some big bets and go for some big things in our own lives. I wanted to show this site. It's Vue.js.com. In case anyone here doesn't know it, they have jobs that are listed across all these different categories, and particularly this is the biggest Vue job site there is. There's a few others, but this is the main one. In any case, I mean, just knowing Vue, if even you're not trying to go for a remote job, but you're looking for just something else, something new and different, again, it's a good bargain chip to have. Any other questions?
Has anyone else have any questions?
Say, what's like the coolest spot you've ever written a line of code from?
All right. Well, I'll tell you, this weekend I was writing lines of code from the mountains of Boulder.
That doesn't count. We're here.
Yeah, well, that's cool for me. So probably the most badass lines of code I've written were on a bus going across the south of Argentina. I didn't even have internet. I had to set myself up to work offline, and then upload all the code afterwards when I was done. It was the moment in the project that I said, you know what, we're gonna have mocks for all the APIs, because I had to test the stuff offline and like that. I was able to produce work being on a bus heading, across South Argentina. Yeah.
That sort of dovetails nicely into my question, which is, if I was working remotely, I really want to be in very remote places that may or may not have Wi-Fi. Have you had to set up your own stuff, or you just code offline, I guess?
Well, that is a fact that depending on where you go, you don't know if you're going to get good Wi-Fi. I've coded in campsites, just outside my tent, and they had Wi-Fi, but it went down because that's something that apparently happens in that town. Every now and then, just the Wi-Fi will go down for a couple hours. And yeah, those were the moments where it's important to have set up your infrastructure to work offline, which is supposed to be developer best practice anyways. Just a lot of people don't do it at the start because it's a lot of work. But yeah, that's kind of why I started doing it, because I started learning that hey, Wi-Fi is not always reliable, and especially going on to South America, it's a little less reliable there.
So when you say infrastructure, do you just mean your dev environment that you code in, or you have some other?
No, I mostly mean the dev environment. Have the database running offline, have JSON files with mocks of what all your API responses would look like, the fails and the goods, and just because then that's really impressive. I mean, the hardest part about working remote that I found is communicating with the team, especially because everyone in the office is used to talking amongst themselves. They're not used to updating you online. I'm almost always the last person to find out anything. In the beginning, I used to get mad about that, but then I learned, hey, it comes with the territory. You got to be able to roll with it. So being able to communicate and show that you're being productive is the most important thing. Responsiveness and productivity. That's that's at least what my employer is looking for. I imagine it's what most would be looking for.
One more?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just curious. So you work on the Beautify project, right? Pretty good. Have you guys thought of using CSS Grid at all, or are you guys kind of like constructing your own with like Flexbox and things like that? Like the new W3 CSS Grid. I heard a lot about it.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to use it, but I don't know. I think it's a living document right now or something, a living specification.
Yeah, it's not fully supported.
It's like, yeah, like kind of there, but I think that's the future, so I'm just curious what the Beautify people have done with that.
Yeah, at the moment, first off, I can't speak too much about that because I don't work on the core Beautify project. Again, I work on the Vue CLI 3 plugin and the old templates, which will be deprecating soon. But in any case, definitely the idea right now is to stay stable. Since CSS Grid is not supported right now, there's no immediate plan for switching over to it. But we've switched the way we've done things in the past. Switching to the Flexbox itself was a switch. We weren't always using Flexbox in the framework. So when things develop and it's a good time for it, we don't be willing to switch again more than likely.
Got it.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you.